Hey, it's time to take a look at what's making news in print and online, and we're joined by Ebony Bennett, the Deputy Director of the think tank, the Australia Institute. Ebony, good morning to you.
G'day, thanks for having me.
Gee, we've been talking a lot about the coalition's nuclear plans with not a lot of detail. They keep promising it's coming. The Age, well, the 9 newspapers today on their front page have been given some detail. What are you reading from it all?
Yeah, we were supposed to get the details and costings of this so-called nuclear energy plan from the coalition before the budget, but today the Age and Sydney Morning Herald are reporting that in a few weeks we can expect that the coalition will unveil the potential sites for up to 7 new nuclear power plants in places like the Latrobe Valley in Victoria, in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales, really co-located where existing gas and coal-fired power plants are, right across the country. And this is a really interesting election platform, I guess, because it was just a few days ago the CSIRO announced that nuclear energy, it would cost up to $16 billion to build the first nuclear power plant and about $8 billion for every one after that. And once they're built, they'll deliver electricity at about twice the price of renewables. So, yeah, a very interesting election platform here.
Yeah, well, it's one the coalition's pursuing. They insist that these small modular reactors can be built much cheaper and faster than what the CSIRO is suggesting, which has caused some tension, as you know, between CSIRO and the coalition, Ebony. But also, let's talk about the political challenge Peter Dutton faces once those locations are announced in terms of potentially the mother of all scare campaigns.
Yes, I think that's a real concern for the coalition here. I think it's very different to talk about nuclear energy in the abstract compared to the idea of having one in your backyard and all the concerns that come along with that. But I actually think the cost of living message will be really difficult for the coalition here. Nuclear electricity, I think, is amongst the most expensive to build. We're still in the middle of a crisis where people are really struggling to make ends meet. The idea of doubling your electricity costs, not going to be a pleasant one for most households.
Ebony, can we turn to another big announcement we're expecting today from the Prime Minister, which is in regards to creating a landscape in Australia to be the battery manufacturer?
Yeah, a really big announcement today for about $500 million going to make Australia a world-leading battery manufacturer. Obviously, we have a lot of lithium deposits here in Australia, but really all we do is dig them up and send them overseas. This proposal will be looking to make Australia value add to that supply chain by hopefully becoming a battery manufacturer. And I think a really important announcement. These are the kinds of investments that Australia will need to be making if we want to diversify in a decarbonised world our economy away from fossil fuels. Unfortunately, while we've got announcements like this, we're still expanding the fossil fuel industry. But I think this is a really welcome announcement. The manufacturing industry is many, many times bigger than the mining industry. It employs almost 1 million people. It's a wise investment to look at value adding and really getting our dollars worth out of our minerals rather than what we currently do at the moment.
One of the key measures of the budget last week was the close to $14 billion in tax credits for the production of critical minerals and green hydrogen. Ebony, the Financial Review this morning tells us the mining industry worries that that won't be enough to make those industries more competitive.
Yes, surprise, surprise, $14 billion isn't enough for the mining industry. That's on top of almost $14.5 billion that it receives from state and federal governments, the fossil fuel industry at least, in existing fossil fuel subsidies every year. But here we see the mining industry warning that it's not enough to be competitive, and also warning against white elephants, like concerns about the car manufacturing industry in years past and investing in white elephants. I would just say I agree. I think it's really important this doesn't go into boondoggles or, uncommercial or unviable projects. And we should look to the fossil fuel industry for examples of what not to do. We've invested over $1 billion in public funding for carbon capture and storage with nothing really to show for it. If we're going to pursue these production tax credits, we do want them to be going into, projects that will work.
And Ebony, just briefly to wrap up, Rishi Sunak calling an early election in the UK.
Yes, again, another brave electoral decision here. They're very well behind, more than 20 points, almost 30 points behind Labor in the polls. They've had a very turbulent period, although a long period in office, the Conservatives, with 5 prime ministers. So this is almost 6 months early, and you've got to think he's called it because he thinks things can only get worse from here.
Yeah, it does.
So,
it seems like he just wants to rip that Band-Aid off. We'll be following it
Exactly.
here. Ebony Bennett, have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Visit australiainstitute.org.au for all our latest research, commentary and analysis, as well as details for upcoming events and webinars.